Actually, you can look at a few cameras if you want. No, anymore.
Wait. Do I look at the cameras or do I not look at the cameras?
You know what? We'll just start. Welcome to the Ben Adams Show. Today we have an awesome guest, Mount Everett. Make some noise.
Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, us make noise.
Yeah.
I thought the people at home.
You guys are the only ones here.
Yeah, Mount Everett!
Oh my gosh.
Should be a fun interview today. No. Okay, so let's first introduce you guys. So you guys are Mount Everett.
We are.
This is a new lineup.
Yeah.
New lineup from
Kind of new from our last couple
Yeah.
shows. Tag played with us a lot
Hi, I'm
pre-COVID.
Tag.
This is Tag.
Hi, I'm Tag.
He's our drummer.
Yeah, that's me.
He drummed for us back from October 2019 up until February 2020.
Dude, has it really been that long?
Yeah, last show you played with us was February 2020, right before.
Dude.
who was
COVID.
that?
That's
It was
crazy.
Velour.
Velour.
It was like
For Battle of the Bands.
no, it was just like a Friday or Saturday night show with 3 other bands. It was Sunfish was one of the bands.
Oh, was it the one with 19 miles
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
it was
it was,
Sunfish,
yeah.
19 miles per hour, us, and then Spaced Out.
spaced out?
Yeah, they're another kind of high school band.
Cool.
Except we're not a high school band, but
Yeah, we're like
and neither is
25.
Sunfish is a high school band.
Nice. But yeah, so let's get to know you guys first. So we'll go this way. So your name and say your favorite movie
Favorite
and
movie.
why. So yeah, we'll start with
Why?
you and go this way.
My name is Everett. I'm the frontman / guitarist for Mount Everett and singer, songwriter. And my favorite movie has got to be Dark Knight. Just because of Heath Ledger's performance, can't beat it.
Strong pick. Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's a good one.
So, my name is Taggart Maxwell Bradbury II.
Is the second real?
It is real, yeah.
It is?
Your dad's name is the same?
Taggart Maxwell Bradbury, yeah.
Righteous.
Anyway, just call me Tag. And my favorite movie is, I guess your name, because I'm a massive weeb.
Never heard of it. Who's in it? Anyone?
It's an anime.
Oh, cool.
Anime.
Yeah,
There you go.
Nice.
that's it.
Okay. My name is Ethan Wallace. I'm the bassist. Oh man, my favorite movie's got to be, oh shoot, probably Gangs of New York. Honestly,
What's that one about?
it's takes place in it's a Martin Scorsese movie. It's in just kind of New York during the Civil War
Mm-hmm.
and kind of the political situation during that time of
Yeah.
It's a great movie. I love it to death. Some people say it's not Scorsese's best, but I just
Mhm.
think it's so fun. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds cool. Haven't heard of any of those movies, but
Wait, you don't know the Batman?
oh, I
trilogy?
know that one.
Okay. I was gonna say. Christian Bale, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Cool movies. At least I don't
Yeah.
know anything
The
about
one that
them.
you know,
right?
Yeah, but I don't know. They sound cool.
Cool, man.
Yeah, that's all I know about them. But yeah, so you guys, Mount Everett, you're like not exactly well. How would you describe yourselves?
Let's hear the
That's a
the
question.
one bio I wrote one time was what did it say? It said in a sometimes folky indie synth rock band. But we just we don't try to stick to any genre. Ever since I started writing songs in high school, I never tried to write songs with a specific genre. I just found a guitar riff or something that I liked and played it, and then just I feel like the song kind of just wrote itself, from
Yeah.
there on. I wrote the song around the riff and how it made me feel rather than trying to make the song sound like a genre.
Mhm.
And so ever since I was in high school, I'd write kind of some folkier songs, some kind of more rock songs, and those are my two biggest influences. It would be folk and kind of alternative
Yeah.
rock. And then I like a good synth, and so some of our songs are almost even kind of house EDM-y a little bit.
Mhm. Cool stuff. So do you write most of the songs?
I write currently.
Or all?
I write all the songs. Mount Everett is kind of actually a project to bring just the songs that I've written to life. I was a solo artist for a long time.
Mhm.
Like my freshman year at BYU 5 years ago, I performed a lot of shows just with me and my acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
But I just felt like a lot of my songs would be bigger and better with a drummer and a bassist, and so that's why I created Mount Everett, was because I just wanted to bring these songs that I had written to life.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. So I know a few years ago, when you first started, you had like 5 members in.
Yeah.
The band,
So Mount Everett has had many a lineup.
Mm-hmm.
We formed. It's funny. So the story of Mount Everett was. Do you remember Dave Long's Indie Fest series? So I had some friends that played in Indie Fest 1, and I kind of heard about it. And then Indie Fest 2 came around, and I don't know if you know Maya Hicken.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. She was a solo artist back then, but she's now has the Drusky band.
Yeah, they're cool.
So Maya Hicken was going to be playing Indie Fest 2, and I was at an open mic one day, and I was talking to Maya, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, you excited for Indie Fest?" And that was like 2 weeks away at this point. And she's like, "Oh, I'm actually dropping out of it. I just haven't told Dave yet." And Dave is one of my good friends now, but I hadn't even met him at the time, but I just heard of him. So I found him on Facebook. I tracked him down, and I messaged him, and I said, "Hey, I heard Maya Hicken is dropping out of Indie Fest 2. Are you trying to replace her with an artist?" And he's responded back. He's like, "Hey, I just checked out your music on Instagram. I like your sound. Are you a solo artist or a band?" And I was originally going to be a solo artist because Maya was a solo and I was solo. But then me and Josh Bird, who was my bassist for a while.
Union.
From Union. Dave's also from Union.
Got to talk to them last week. Fun.
They're great guys, great band. And then actually, which is funny, I'll get to this later, but Hunter, the reason Josh knows Hunter is because Hunter was my original guitarist.
We talked about that too. We had
really?
like a full 5-minute convo about you guys and our last interview we did with them.
Nice, it's funny. We're all connected. Yeah. So I met Josh at a. Sorry, this is such a long story. You guys are just jumping there. I met Josh in line at an open mic back in October of 2018, and we just instantly clicked. We had really similar music tastes. He really liked my songs, and I was like, "Hey, I'm planning on starting a band soon. Would you want to be my bassist?" He's like, "Sure." And so we would jam a lot, but we never had a drummer. And then one time, when I was kind of really wanting to start a band, I posted on Facebook looking for a drummer. And Jackson Schott, who was my drummer for a while, he's a friend of mine from Portland, and he responded on Facebook, said, "Hey, I'm moving to Provo in a couple weeks. I can just pack my drums in my car and drum for you." And I'm like, "Sure." And so, backtrack back to this conversation with Dave about Indie Fest 2. He asked me like, "Hey, is it going to be a solo project or a band?" And I kind of paused for a second. I'm like, and Jackson, my drummer, had just gotten into town like a few days earlier, and I already had a bassist, so the drums, bass, and me. I'm like, that's a band. So I'm like, let's do a band. And he's like, sweet, what's the name of your band? And I'm like, I don't know. And so I kind of messaged them, and Mount Everett is just, I all the time. Everett's actually becoming a pretty popular baby name now, so more people have heard of it. It's like 3-year-olds and 60-year-olds, and then me with the name Everett. But whenever I introduce my people to introduce myself to people, they'd always be like, Everest, or they'd be like, Everett, like the mountain, and I'm like, no. And so in fact, and even one time I was talking to the Rex, right? I think I saw that you follow them on Instagram.
Yeah, we do a lot of covers of them actually.
Oh really?
We do live shows. They're cool guys.
Yeah. So I was at a rec show, and I've been to a lot of rec show ever since there. In Portland is where I went to most of their rec shows.
Let me talk to you something about after this interview.
Yeah.
You might like something I'll tell you after this.
Yeah,
announcement coming soon.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I'd been to a lot of rec shows, and they kind of started to kind of know me because I've been not like know me, but they'd recognize me, And so I was talking to Nick Anderson, the lead singer of the Rex, after a show one day in Portland. And he's like, Everett, like the mountain. And I'm like, no. He's like, wait, what? The biggest mountain in the world that's Mount Everett, isn't it? like Mount Everett. And I'm like, Mount Everest. He's like, oh. He was probably high or something, but,
Yeah, seems like them.
Or he just, it was a long night for him. He just played a show.
Yeah.
But, and so, and this was actually probably like that show I was probably like just the fall before I started Mount Everett, and so that incident was actually pretty like fresh in my mind, and I was just thinking like Mount Everett, that's kind of a cool name for a band. And so I texted Josh and Jackson, and I'm like, hey, what do you guys would you guys be good with the name of the of the band being Mount Everett? And they're like, sure. And so I texted that to Dave, and that's how the band was born.
And so your first show was at Indie Fest?
Was Indie Fest 2 in February of
at First Base Studios?
Yeah, 2019.
Didn't you also have Bethany?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so it was originally the three of us, and then I was going to try and find a guitarist so that I could just kind of be more of a frontman, move around stage, and maybe play some keys here and there. But for some reason, I was just having the hardest time finding a good guitarist. And also, keep in mind, the show was like 2 weeks away at this point, too. And I'm trying to just throw the show together. And so after like 3 or 4 days of looking for a guitarist, I'm like, all right, we got to like get the band together. And so Bethany was just a mutual friend of mine. I had a good friend that would like throw game nights at her house, and Bethany would like show up. And that's how I knew Bethany was a pretty good pianist and could pick up things quickly just from hanging out with her. So I messaged her. I'm like, hey, Bethany, would you want to play keys for me? And she's like, sure. And so that was originally going to be just us four. I was going to play guitar. She was going to be on keys. And then I was living at the Branbury at the time, kind of in the Provo-Orem area. And me and Jackson were rehearsing in the piano room at the Branbury. And this guy just walks in, and he's like, hey, do you guys ever like jam with other people? And I'm like, we're not really jamming. We're rehearsing for a show in 7 days, you know? and I'm like, but what instrument do you play? He's like, guitar. And I'm like, well, go grab your guitar and amp and come over here. And I kind of just started like, just kept showing him the songs, and he was like picking up really quick. And that's really what I was looking for, was just someone that like didn't need to rehearse a whole lot before the show.
Hunter?
That was Hunter. Yep, that was Hunter that walked in.
Wait, so you didn't know him before?
No, I had no clue. Total random dude that just lived at the Branbury and just walked in on the practice 7 or 8 days before the show.
Nice.
Yeah, and so and at the time it was the summer after my it was the school year right after my first summer of sales and the summer sales and so I didn't have a day job because I was just living off of summer sales money, and so I would just like go practice with each band member one-on-one whenever their time was free, because my schedule was totally open. And like we only rehearsed as an entire band like maybe I think only once before the actual show.
That's like us.
Yeah, it was just me practicing with them one-on-one, making sure they all had their parts individually, and then we got together and rehearsed, and so that was the five of us for our first couple shows. It was our next two shows were actually Battle of the Bands at BYU.
The wall.
And at the time, Josh was like taking night classes during the week, and so like our first show, we actually used the bassist from the Moss.
The Moss.
Yeah.
They're cool.
Oh dang it! Why am I forgetting his name? I feel bad now if he watches this. He probably won't. Brierton, that's his name. And he played bass for us on the weeknight show, and then Josh played for us, and then Hunter moved back to Virginia, and so I didn't bother replacing him, and so I just moved to guitar instead of being just singing. And so then it was just the four of us for a while, and also with a couple fill-in basses, because like I said, Josh was always taking those night classes. And then Jackson moved, and Tag came along, and then I just met Tag I just posted on looking for a new drummer on the Utah Musicians Network Facebook page.
Was it that or KSL? I thought it was KSL.
No, I don't.
Oh
no, it was
Facebook.
KSL.
I guess it was Facebook then.
It was the Utah Musicians Network, the UMN, the one where the admins are all like got sticks up their butt.
Oh, the ones like
where they're like, if you post anything related to this, you'll get kicked out of the group.
No, I think I have like 2 warnings from that group so far for like. Not like I literally just posted like a Spotify link, and it was even for like to promote my band. It was like I put a collection of all the Utah artists like that I know into a playlist, posted it, and then I got a warning like the day after saying, "Hey, don't post." It. I was like,
Wow.
Yeah, no, those admins.
So much for
dude,
local advertising, right?
Dude, those Facebook admins, power goes to their head, man. They think they're just like like freaking
Yeah.
the president of the United States. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's only like one good Facebook Utah music group, which is ran by, I don't know, but it's like a good one.
What's the name?
It's Utah. It's like Utah music scene. That's what it's called.
I don't
It
think
has like
I know
7K members in it.
I don't
Yeah,
even know
I
which
think I
ones
know
I'm in
that
anymore.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, that's how I met Tag. I just posted looking for a new drummer since Jackson moved back to Oregon, and he responded. And then I had also met Rex in line at a Velour open mic, and him and I, Rex, he was our guitarist from just about October 2019 to February 2020, just about the same time Tag was my drummer last. He's filled in for a few different bands.
Yeah, he
recently.
plays with the
Melancholy Club.
Yeah, he plays with them now. I don't know if he's.
And I think he almost filled in for Rally, but didn't, or something like that. He's kind of hopped around other bands. I feel like, and I feel like he wasn't really playing in other bands before me. I guess I'm the guy that just finds these talents, and then they just disperse, and then they're like, I'll just play in all these other bands instead of the one that.
That literally sounds like me, because I like my band members. They have no connection with other Utah people until like.
They
I
join your band and then they
they
start playing for
exactly.
all the other
I'm
bands.
like, what?
But that's the Utah local music scene.
It is.
You can't find anyone that's just in one band.
Well, there's
know?
like except for like the super big ones. Like
yeah.
Valley or.
And I guess I can't say because I met Josh and he had actually just barely started his band. He was the frontman of Munin and I pulled it. And Josh for a long time was my bassist, so he was in 2 bands. But I've never really been in any other bands but Mount Everett because I don't know. But
you are Mount Everett, dude.
I am Mount Everett. You guys can just leave. This is my interview.
I'm gonna head out.
No. But yeah, and then so that was it was the 5 of us. It was me, Rex, Tag, and then Josh and Beth for a while, and then Beth left on her mission actually, and so it was actually just the 4 of us for that Velour show right before the world shut down. It was me, Tag, Rex, and Josh. And then Velour hit.
Yeah, COVID.
COVID hit, and and then I moved to North Carolina for this last summer, and so I wasn't playing any shows then. And then I got back to town, and you asked me to play that one show at Boardwalk. Mm-hmm.
The like Valentine's one.
Yeah. Yep. And it was originally just going to be me and a bunch of backing tracks. Pretty lame, but
what's it? Jackson.
Yeah. He last minute said like, hey, I could. So I actually reached out to him and see if he wanted to play with me to drive, because he moved from Oregon to Rexburg. Mm-hmm. So he was gonna. So I asked him if he would be able to drive down to Utah to play with me, and he was actually going to be playing a show in Rexburg with Munin that same night. And I'm like, oh bummer. But then that Rexburg show got canceled, and so like. A week before my show with you, Jackson was like, hey, I can actually play that show after all. And I'm like, okay. And so I like spent hours and hours making the backing tracks for everything other than my guitar and my voice and his drums. And we played that show. It actually went really well.
It was a fun one.
Yeah, it was a good one. And then me and Jackson played another show just here, a little bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was like 2 months ago or something like that.
Yeah, because Jackson was doing his solo metal project too. Mm-hmm. And then you asked us to play Yes Horizon, and we got accepted to do the Fork Fest, and so
hopefully that's announced.
I'll
make sure it's announced.
Whoopsies!
Wait, was that a secret?
Well, it's kind of supposed to be on the DL a little because they haven't announced the.
Just
bleep it out.
Bleep it out.
Make it sound like I swore, because it'll be like.
Just like get all mad.
No. Bleep out the OR, so it'll be like Fork Fest, and it'll just be.
I don't know. That might have some different implications.
Might get canceled.
You might not want out there.
Mount Everett canceled.
No, just bleep it all out. Siri, I'm not talking to you, man.
Jeez.
My Apple Watch just thinks the world revolves around it. But yeah, and so I wanted a band that would like be a little more rehearse more than having to drive down from Rexburg, you know. And so some local members, and so Tag reached out to me and said that he was good to start playing again, and Josh was getting really busy with Munin and everything, and so it's tough to when your bass is the frontman of another band. So Tag knew Ethan from a side project.
What project?
They never played any shows.
We never got to do.
played
Yeah,
any
so
shows. It was all COVID. But
yeah, we started it like right before COVID. It was gonna be called Getting the Robot.
Sounds
It
pretty
was
cool.
with
Exclamation point, right?
yeah, exclamation point.
don't forget.
It was with Rex too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we like started writing some songs.
Remember the part where I find band members and they think of, yeah.
Yep.
Hey man, I'm still playing with you. I'm still playing with you.
Rex
So
isn't,
yeah,
though.
we started writing tunes and trying to record tunes, and then COVID happened, and so it just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah,
and then
sure.
our singer Josh is moving to Texas
Different
next
Josh.
month. So
Yeah.
like so like what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But I got a whole backlog of songs now, so that's cool. I guess.
Yeah.
Sometime.
Yeah.
So before I ask you guys some separate questions, one
Yeah.
more. So at Indie Fest, I've seen the YouTube video that you posted, like the full performance.
Oh, yeah.
So at least the ones I've seen of you doing it is that one, and then the BYU, the mask thing.
Yeah.
What was the idea behind that?
So that I'm
It was
impressed.
for
I'm impressed you
justification,
did
right?
your homework, Ben. So the idea behind that was I thought that our song Justifications would be a really cool opener song, but the thing about Justifications is that it has a really soft intro, and crowds like this where they don't come for you and they don't know the songs, they'll just talk right over your music. And and if I go on stage and I'm playing this really soft intro, no one would be listening, they'd be talking over it. So I wanted something to grab their attention and kind of shut everybody up. I wanted them to be like, what the heck is going on right now,
Yeah.
And so and I just wanted to kind of, and like I said, I wanted to be a frontman. I didn't want to be stuck behind, have a guitar between me and the crowd. I wanted to be able to like move around on stage. And so I just had this idea to grab this white morph suit, is what it was. So I bought a white morph suit, and then I would play this like what song? What's the name of the song? It's the Space Odyssey theme. We played the dun,
Yeah.
dun,
Oh!
boom, boom. That one. And so we my big synth that has all these different sounds. We did that and like layered the timpani drums on the end, so it was like dum 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 dum. We like made a really big deal of it, and so I had Beth play the Space Odyssey theme on the keys, and then I come walking on stage with the white morph suit, and it was literally, the purpose of it was just to make everyone like shut up and be like, what the heck is going on? And it worked. Like if you watch the video, the crowd was silent by the time we started playing the intro to Justifications, and so I went on stage. And I also wanted to like do something kind of dramatic, like tearing open the mouth to show the thing.
And didn't you like mark it up too? Or
Yeah. So I had a marker.
Yeah.
So I brought it. So I went on stage. I brought out a marker. I drew X's over the eyes and a mouth, and then I tore open the mouth, and then I pulled the microphone out of my coat and plugged it in, and then the Space Odyssey theme kind of warped into the intro to Justifications, and then we started Justifications, and if you watch the video, you'll see that the crowd was dead silent by the time we were singing this soft intro, and then they got hyped by the time it was hype, and it was a pretty fun show.
Yeah.
Why don't we do stuff like that anymore, man?
Yeah. Well,
I considered bringing it back, but and I probably could.
Exactly that.
You should do it for, like,
one reason is because the morph suit has hands and they can't play guitar, but I could just cut off the hands.
I'm not saying like exactly that. I'm just saying
Oh,
like
yeah.
I don't know, something different.
I mean, I'm down to bring it back. It just kind of slowly. I'm totally down to bring back like more theatrical stuff. It's just like I said, like Mount Everett just evolves a whole lot, and it's just like with the lineup changes,
It's
it
like
just
Pokemon.
yeah. It just didn't make sense with like the Velour show and stuff, and I actually like having the smaller band though, because it's just back then when Mount Everett first started, I didn't have the know-how to make any decent backing tracks. The one backing track I used was for Justifications, and it was from the bridge to the end, and it was made literally on GarageBand, and we would just like hit play when the bridge started.
oh, that's like it's like
when the strings come in, right? The strings.
that's a
I
good
made I made that on GarageBand,
Nice.
and
Where that went like really wrong at the Velour show.
like
halfway through,
I unplugged it. I unplugged it. Yeah. Yeah, we used to be really bad at playing with backing tracks, but we're getting better.
I mean, now that I can hear them, it works a whole lot.
Oh yeah, and yeah. But yeah, like we used to like the Justification was the only backing track we used, and that's why we had 5 members was to be able to play everything that I wanted played, and we would just hit play like at the start of the bridge when it came in, but now I actually I have Logic and I've gotten better at mixing. I'm still not great, but and so I've just started mixing my own click tracks, where we actually have the click panned left so we can send the click to everyone's in-ears on stage and have just the backing track panned right so that it can go out to the crowd. And so now we're getting better at, and pretty much, I think it's not, over half of our songs have backing tracks now. So yeah.
Cool stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You say you had some other questions for that?
Yeah.
Oh.
So you got, well, you're not exactly a new member, but you are.
Yes.
Like, so you haven't played like a show with like Mount Everett yet?
We only had like 3 practices, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So, yeah, what were you gonna say?
I'm actually new to the scene up here, honestly.
Oh, nice. Did you like move it or just like come into this?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in the Denver area.
Oh, nice.
And I just moved down to, I'm from southern Utah, so St. George area, and that's everything.
Oh, nice.
So
It's cool.
moved up here, and just kind of, the way I got in with Tag, and that's how I know Everett. It's, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Just connections, right? I just threw something on that Utah Musicians Network and just said, hey, I'm a bassist. I'm looking to start some projects, and I just got a message like
Nice.
20 minutes later. It's like, hey, just hit me up.
Yeah, it's a good place to.
We've been looking for a bassist for so long, and then like you walk in, and as you're warming up, you were playing the Victor Wooten arrangement of "Isn't She Lovely," and I was like, "This is the guy. This is the guy right here."
Nice.
Yeah, so.
So let's get a little bit serious. How do you like these guys?
They're all right. I mean,
I've already fired him like 3 times.
yeah. I just stick around.
Just keep
at this
bringing him
point.
back.
Yeah, just keep
Just
showing up
show
at
up.
practices.
Yeah, no, they're great guys, super talented musicians. I love working with them. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I didn't mean
I
to
know.
interrupt you.
I guess that's really what it is. I've never really been in the music scene before, really, just because I'm only 19, right? So
Are you only 19?
Yeah. So I never really had the chance to play shows or anything like that, just because I was moving around at that point when I finally knew how to play guitar and bass and everything. So just working with these guys has been really, they're very, understanding for all my incompetencies.
Oh no, dude, not
starting
at all.
out.
You're
Wait, so you're fresh out of school then, pretty much? Almost. Well, a year.
Yeah, I'm almost 20 in 10
So,
months.
so like chill.
But
Something like that.
yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, dude.
Have you ever heard of a amusement co down in St. George?
Hey, that's a cool place. We're playing there.
Oh, really? So do
Yeah.
you know Jason Alexander Clark?
I have no idea. I'm not the one who set the show up.
Oh, you're not? Okay. But have you heard?
I haven't. No, is it?
It's right there on is Temple Drive or something like that, right by like the McDonald's.
Yes,
between the McDonald's and the Swig.
Yeah, I have. Yes.
Isn't it also like a recording studio too?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have. Yeah.
So I met Jason Alexander Clark. He's one of the or used to be. I assume he still is, but he might not be anymore because he doesn't live in St. George. I don't know. Anyways, I met Jason Alexander Clark through my sister. Just one night, I was like over at her place in Lehigh, picking something up or dropping something off, and he was there, Jason, and since he owned like the recording studio and was into music, my sister Shaylin was like, hey, play one of your songs for Jason, and so I played one of my slower solo project songs. It's called This Storm. Plugging my solo project every
Oh, yeah.
on Spotify.
It's a good one.
Your other
You
solo
can stream
project.
it. No, this is a band. This is a band. Chicken. This is a band. You guys just don't matter, but it's still a band. I'm just kidding. Totally kidding.
Wait, so what's the difference between your solo project and Mount Everett then if you're technically Mount Everett?
I've actually always considered merging them one day, but right now the difference is that my band is like the hype songs, and my solo project is like the folky stuff, with no drums and stuff like that. But even we have a couple slower songs with the band too, and so I've always considered possibly merging them one day. I'd stick with the Mount Everett. It's a cooler project name than Everdalton, but not that I have anything against my name. But anyways, I was playing This Storm for Jason, and he really liked it, and he said, hey, just if you ever want to record, you can come and come down to Amusement Co. and stuff, and I'll get you to play a show there sometime too. And so I drove down there and I recorded some stuff, and that was actually the trip that like made me get really into like recording music. And that's when that trip after going down to St. George is when I came home and immediately bought a MacBook Pro and Logic and an interface and
Nice.
and just started recording myself stuff. And I played tour. I think I've been down to Amusement Co. 3 times. I think one of them was just a recording trip, and the other 2 I played a show. Actually, it was a show with Brother both times.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them I was opening for Brother, and the other show there was like a bunch of people playing, like the Moss, Brother, me, and yeah. But yeah, Amusement Co. It's a really cool place down there.
Mm-hmm.
Bucky Flowers is the main owner down there. He's a cool guy.
That's cool. Yeah, it seems like a fun place from the videos I've seen at least.
Yeah,
Instagram
and
stuff.
it's and they've just got like a pretty cool culture there. I don't think so. I actually played a show there the day before the world crumbled from COVID.
So like
actually,
March 13th, something like that.
like yeah, it was like March 12th or March 13th, because I remember like right before the show went down was when the news started coming out and being like maximum occupancies might go into effect soon and stuff, and we're like, it's like cases recorded in America and stuff, and we're like, oh, that's weird. And then the very next day was when they were like, maximum occupancy 100, can't have, and now that sounds like a freaking arena nowadays.
Yeah.
And then the next day they're like, okay, maximum 50, and then like 3 hours later they're okay. That was the day when like every day you're just glued to your phone, and every hour was just like new guidelines and new rules about COVID, like don't wear masks are bad, they'll spread it more. It's like it was just every day you're learning
times.
Yeah, and now it's just regular life. But yeah, so then that was it was kind of, I think that show was more of an Everett Dalton show actually. I think everything's foggy. All those shows at Amusement Co. for some reason kind of blend in my head. Because I did play a show once where Beth drove down there with me and we kind of did some Mount Everett stuff. But
So that like an acoustic type thing. It's cool.
But I think that last show was just me, so I think it was just an Everett Dalton show. But yeah, that was the day before the world crumbled from COVID.
Nice. Cool. So on Spotify, you have one song out right now, which is "Boasting."
Yeah. We released that like March.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
March 14th was the day it came out, and that was right in it was Pi Day. That's
Pi Day?
314. I on Spotify you can choose a time for it to go live too, and I chose 1:59 p.m. so 314-159, which are the digits of pi.
Nice.
No relevance to that or significance to that whatsoever. I was just like,
trivia fact
it was
now.
just like I wanted to release it in March, and I'm like, hey, Pi Day, that's kind of cool. And then little did I know that by then, like, no one would be paying attention to new music being released at all. It would just be paying attention to COVID. So, like Group Love released an album right around the same time too, and no one knows anything about that album because they were just. Group Love releasing an album didn't really make the news at the time of COVID, and so the biggest way for me to promote my music back before COVID was I would just go to open mics, like two open mics a week, and I would just play a couple songs and say, hey, stream my stuff on Spotify, and then that's how I promoted my music. And so ever since COVID, I probably could do just more internet social media promoting, but I just haven't. And so Boasting still hasn't even hit 1,000 streams yet on Spotify. So I think I kind of want to remaster it anyway, so I'll probably re-record some stuff later.
But did you record the original version, like the one that's out now?
Yeah, I would just probably I might like re-record the vocals and the guitar, and then like
real drums this time.
Yeah, maybe possibly. Yeah, the last one was Jackson. I recorded Boasting with a guy named Kyson Kidd. He works a lot with Ben Rainier, and he's recorded stuff for Brother. He used to be a local producer around here, but he moved to like Massachusetts, and maybe he's back in Utah now. I don't know. But I recorded with him, and we did and Jackson, what he did, Jackson just recorded some drums with some samples that he had plugins that he had and just on his electric kit, and then sent them to me,
Mhm.
and I mixed them in. So it was pretty, not the most high tech, fanciest,
Yeah.
expensive way to record a song, but it worked. But yeah, right now that's the only song we have released under Mount Everett is Boasting. But the plan is I just got Stay mastered.
Mhm.
This is actually the first time I'm announcing this, but
Nice.
so
When can we expect
officially,
that?
I'm hoping to have it released before our show in June.
June show.
The secret show in June that I definitely haven't already announced once. No, you're gonna bleep out that part, right?
It's the whole bleep.
But yeah, and so I'm hoping to have that released before our June show.
Nice.
And then we're gonna release a couple more singles.
EP or just singles?
Yeah, so we're gonna release Standing Alone will be the next song released after Stay, and then we'll release it as a single.
Mhm.
And then we'll release Nana Song after that.
Hey.
Release that
Everyone's
as a single.
favorite.
Everyone's the worst song I've ever written, but everyone's favorite song, and that's kind of,
I frowned the whole time I played.
What's so funny is that's like literally like what Nana Song is about. Is like Nana Song is like a song basically making fun of how all the songs on the radio are just cheap, simple, easy songs with meaningless lyrics, because Nana Song, it's just the verse and the chorus is just like 3 chords, 1, 5, 4, a C, G, F, and then the lyrics to the chorus is just na 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 na, and so it's making fun of about how the popular songs are just these meaningless songs, and then I wrote that and it's like always the most popular song at
How long ago
every
did you
show.
write it?
I wrote that song
It was like a year ago, right?
a little more than a year ago because we actually played it, at
Oh,
a few
yeah.
shows.
Oh,
Um,
sometimes I forget 2020 happened.
I know, right?
That's fair. That's fair.
I the first time we played Nana Song was with that kind of Tag and Rex lineup, so it was probably like October, November, December,
That's-
or something.
I think it was that house show was the first time we played it.
Yeah, and that was also and Stay. I started writing Stay a long time ago. It was like the winter of 2018, I think. Like
2018?
Christmas 2018-ish is when I started writing it, and then I never finished it until probably about a year later is when I finished it. And then I also wrote Nana Song right around that same time, and so that they became 2 staples of Mount Everett shows for
Nice.
the 3 shows we got to play them at before COVID. But yeah, so we'll be releasing those singles, and then I might also re-record Boasting,
Mhm.
and then once I remaster Boasting, we're gonna release all 4 of those songs
Yes.
as an EP. That way we can just get a little more traction out of each release. If I just release all 4 songs at once, we're such a small band where like it might get some hype for 2 months and then it'll die,
For sure.
At
We
least
gotta
by
trick people into listening to it more than
exactly
once.
so we release a single and then that dies out, so we release another single and that dies out, so we release another single, and then we group them into an EP, and so it just helps you get a little more mileage out of the release than just dumping them all out at once. But I do want to like eventually record albums, but I don't think I'll really release a full length album until we have a little bit more traction, because I don't want to put that much work into 10-12 songs and then just have it like get 20 streams for so
It's cool.
yeah, it's kind of bummer though, because before COVID hit, I was actually starting to work pretty closely with Corey Fox.
Yeah.
It was kind of Corey Fox, for people that don't know, is the owner of Valor in Provo, and he's the guy that kind of finds local talent, takes them under his wing, and then helps break them out onto the national stage. That's what he did with Neon Trees. He did that with Imagine Dragons. He did that with Moth and the Flame. With
I
The
don't know
Strike.
how.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I don't know if Corey didn't really have a big hand, and I don't know how.
Well, that was
because-
the first show they played at Valor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. But I mean, the lead singer for I Don't Know How used to be in Panic at the Disco,
Mhm.
so that's kind of, he already had
Sure.
lots of connections. But I'm sure Corey helped him out a lot, and I'm pretty sure they're friends. But but Corey has these crazy connections to the national music scene. He'll have lunch with like the Imagine Dragons band manager whenever he like travels to Vegas, and it's like he has these crazy connections, and so Corey was just starting to take an interest in us right before COVID hit. I would like him and I would kind of like talk a lot after open mics, and you know, just I would like help him break down, and we talk for a couple hours, and we had that show in February of 2020, and that was at Velour, and it was just like it was 4 of us, so you know, which is kind of a big lineup. It was just the reason there's 4 bands was because all 4 of us were smaller bands, and he likes to sell out those weekend shows, you know. But we brought a pretty good crowd, and so we were actually scheduled to. I don't know if you know Lantern by Sea. They're a local band. Yeah, they have some cool music out. We were gonna be, and they hadn't played a show in like almost, I think, over a year or something, because they were recording. And so we were going to open for Lantern by Sea in April. Like, we had the date and lineup and everything, and it was just going to be like a 3-band show, you know. And we were going to be the second opener, so the one right before the headliner. And we're really super stoked for that. And then, you know, obviously, COVID. And so we kind of lost a lot. And then, you know, I moved to North Carolina for the summer, and so we kind of lost a lot of that traction. But we're trying to build it back up. You know, we're playing the Yes Horizon Festival.
I mean, the Boardwalk show you guys played, that was definitely a good place to start back.
Yeah.
Doing shows and stuff. So that was your first show, like, since COVID and stuff? During COVID,
let's see here. So when I drove back home from North Carolina, I like on my drive back cross country, I got a message from Ari asking if I wanted to play a show with her in September at the Rise, and I was like, sure, I'll be in town. Like,
was that solo?
Like 3 days before, yeah. Sure. And so I just played that show solo. Just did my acoustic stuff. I had a backing track for like 1 or 2 songs, but yeah, that was just me. And then I played the show actually here at your place around Christmas time.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, and then.
So you played 2 here and then 1 at the Boardwalk, and then so 4.
Yeah, so I had that show with Ari at the Rise, and then I had you, and that was in September, and then I had the show here, and I think that was December or so, and then in February.
And then March, I think.
And then and then that show here was also just a solo project show. It wasn't a Mount Everett show. Yeah. But then the show at Boardwalk was when Jackson came, and that was more of a Mount Everett show. And
same with this one here when you opened.
Yeah, that because I opened for Jackson, and so he drummed for me too, and so yeah. And but yeah, I'm looking forward to playing a show with these guys because
So the Yes Horizon Festival will be your guys' first show with like Mount Everett.
Yeah, I mean, unless we randomly schedule like a house show last minute before or something, but
that show's gonna be fun. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, me too.
For me, it'll be like like 6 or 7.
Oh yeah, like with this lineup.
Oh,
yeah, not just with you.
Gotcha.
But with this lineup. Yeah. Tag played. He played shows with us. I think he played an indie fest with us, right? Or was it just a?
I don't think it.
I know he played a couple house shows. He played the Velour show. Yeah, honestly, like everything kind of. I used to have everything down like that, but now just everything
blurs together.
Everything, after a year of not playing any shows at all, it's like everything pre-COVID just kind of meshes together.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, that's gonna be a fun fest. That's like a month from today, actually. I think what's today? Like April
14th.
14th.
14th. Are you guys playing on the Friday or Saturday? Do you know?
I think the first day, so Friday.
Oh, so like a month, because that's May 14th.
Pretty sure it's Saturday. At least that's what I put on my calendar. So.
Let me check my calendar. 14th is a Friday, and that's when we're playing. Yep.
Nice.
So, a month, 1 month from today.
Nice.
Look at that.
It's gonna be a fun one. So, and then you have the fest in June.
That'll be
a secret show in June.
Secret show.
All our shows are secret shows.
That does almost seem. Well, why do you keep the show secret? Kind of.
Oh, it's just because they just haven't officially announced the lineup. It's a festival.
No, like other shows.
Oh well.
Like,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know exactly like you don't like post like that.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Well, so pre-COVID, I had no problem, but I just since COVID, some people get judgmental about advertising for events with people, and so I have friends that like post on Instagram saying like, "Oh, I'm playing a show here," and then like their DMs get flooded with like, "Oh, you're so irresponsible. You're killing grandmas and grandpas," and like.
I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
Like,
and so.
not to say I don't get it.
Yeah, no, I get it, but that's why I just like and I can pull a pretty solid crowd by just like messaging people I know that like to come to my shows, and so. And you know, most of the shows we played, since it is COVID, it was limited capacity anyways, and so, you know, like I could I would bring like 40 or 50 people to shows pre-COVID, and like 30 of them were just like people in my contacts, you know, and then maybe like another 10 or 20 were people that just saw me at open mics and then followed my Instagram and then saw that I was advertising for the show and then bought tickets, you know. Sure. And so since COVID, most of the shows I play, I would just message people and say, "Hey, I'm playing this show," since I know I could bring a crowd by just messaging people directly. So, but these other now that the vaccine's rolling out, people are starting to get events, and we'll be playing some outdoor shows with plenty of spacing. I'll definitely start actually promoting
it's a
our shows
bit
more.
safer. It's like
It's cool. Yeah, I think that's all.
That's the interview.
Well, like it's 45 minutes.
Sweet.
that was 45 minutes.
Yeah. What? So before we end, you guys want to say anything?
Stream boasting on Spotify.
And where can we find you on social media, stuff like that?
Just if you search Mount Everett, we're just mt.everett will show up. I think Instagram we're mount.everett.music.
Yeah, it'll be right on the screen somehow.
Sweet. I think Twitter is just.
Face.
I think I should probably use Twitter more. What's our Twitter? Our Twitter? Yeah, man.
What? We got Twitter. Dude, apparently.
It's just Mount Everett Music, no dots or dashes or anything on Twitter. MT Everett Music. And then if you just look up Mount Everett on Facebook, you'll find us. And
That's cool.
MySpace.
I was literally just about to say that. We don't have a MySpace, but I was just about to be like MySpace.
So nice.
On Pinterest, we're not.
Pinterest. Fun. But yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining.
Thanks for having us.
Man.
What camera should I look at?
I
don't know. We'll do this one today. And stay tuned for a sick performance.
Yeah.
Fade to black.
We are Mount Everett, and this is Standing Alone.
Someone but I'm sorry to say, I think that we're done. You wanna know why? Well, so do I. It's all in place, but it's still